Good morning, everybody. Sorry the late start today. A lot going on, and I just had a bunch to do. So we're just going to address this in a moment. But let people funnel in, and I'm going to put this link in a couple spots, and then we can kind of start. So let me just click on this here, live link this here. Please subscribe to this channel so it's easier for me to not send these links out in the morning, and we'll go from there now. Bear with me 1 second. Get that link out here, and then we can throw it in the room. Okay. So let's begin. Let's begin here and throw this over. Morning, everybody. So let's just start. Hey, buddy. So hey, Matthew. Before we start, and for those that are new, you just have to deal with my coffee sips this morning. I'm going to need a lot of coffee to get through today. I can already feel it. I already feel the need for the caffeine. So sorry in advance. I just want to discuss this very quickly so we can all be on the same page. This is what he does. He comes out when things are going well and knocks the stock down. If you remember the last time this happened, okay, we went from back here, right? This was back here. We went from like 800 after split, came all the way back down because he said the stock price was too high. We're up 400% from there. So my advice, frankly, is if this is something that you're really interested in buying this and trying to own it long term, if you want to buy a leap on this, this is not the worst day to do it if you're looking out a year. I think what's going on right now, you're going to see people step up today and buy this. If you own options, you might have a bad day, but equity wise, I don't see any reason to do anything with the equity on this. Just stay with it. Here's your trading range off the open. These are the levels that I've been using this morning. This 1150 is being respected. That is the high from the opening bar from the 15-minute. That's a great spot to use. Look at this 1167, bonk, bonk, bonk. Through 1167 probably takes us to 1182. So my sense is this does have the potential to fill this gap today. And we're going to have to just see how it plays out. But that's kind of where I'm leading. And there's a ton to go over, but I really wanted to cover this first. But let's just jump into it. So we can all get started here. Coin. I like coin a lot. You know, I like coin a lot. I mean, it's in the top 5. I don't have an exact earnings date. I've got conflicting data. I have one story telling me Friday. I have another story telling me November 9th. So I need to find that out. But to go through this super, like, look, okay, this break is exactly what I was looking for. All I wanted you to do, and you can see it doing exactly what I was talking about. All I wanted to do is get above that close. Look like we're going to open at that close and just go. That's what it feels like. So I like the action. It's definitely something I'm interested in. I'm probably not going to chase it. My hope is that it comes back down to that opening price and I may be able to get some off. But I'm not going to chase it. But I like that a lot. OTRK. So, yeah, I mean, this is not something that I'm going to go near. Here's your break. Here's your break again. I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't go anywhere near this. All up, Oka. Yes. So in there, yes, that's the cheat sheet. I'm sorry. I wish somebody told me that I have this thing going over here. I apologize. I don't know why you would need my symbol. Yeah, if you follow along in the top 5 of 5, the cheat sheet's the entry prices. That's where I will be looking. Obviously, all this is done for informational purposes. You have to make your own decisions. You know, I'm not going to get into all the disclosures. People pretty much know what it is. But I think that, yes, there are areas that where they trigger that I may look at buying. Absolutely, 100%. Good morning, Bob. So AMD, Microsoft. So, I think you saw a shift yesterday, and the question becomes, how long does this shift last? So I think it's important for us to look at that and understand that. For me, I'm not so sure that this shift lasts or how long it lasts. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of, let me see what happens with it. So in other words, what I'm getting at is, at the end of the day, when I look at something like this, right, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm out buying software if software is coming in and software looks weak. Now, I don't know that software is going to look weak. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with software. You have Net coming out with earnings, and it could be a really big mover, or it could be a non-event. But you're going to have to watch how software acts. You saw software sell down yesterday when this went up. If this goes up again, you may see that. So it's something to consider. But that said, AMD, this is actually what you've been waiting for. So for those that understand these patterns, right, you can kind of recognize what this is when it broke above this level. It's not perfect, but you could argue that that's a bullish hook reversal, right? Just by understanding that pattern. And you could see how you never broke under these levels. And I'm going to leave pre and post data in that's up here today, just so everyone can look at this. But look at what you're doing right here, right? You're just riding right to that line. So we're just going to see how that plays out. And it's really important to see this and to get that close. You closed at an all-time high yesterday. Nobody predicted that. Now, that kind of reversal, you need to pay attention to. Because that tells you that you're seeing buying coming in. And if you're seeing that kind of buying coming in, what else are we going to see? You're going to see that today, right? I mean, you connect the dots, right? You can see what's going on here. So I expect all of this to move higher. I like AMD, and I like AMD's move yesterday. I thought it was a good move. Good morning, buddy. Hey, Evan. Hi, Samira. Hi, Isaiah. All right. Good morning. Amazon needs more time to swing back. Look, here's the thing, okay? And I get this a lot from people that are newer, a lot. And let me just take this off for a minute, okay? How come you're not buying this breakout? How come you're not buying the breakout, right? It's turning, it's going. I look for confirmation before I make decisions. I want to wait for confirmation that the move is real or not real. Does it mean that I don't get the bottom price? Yes. I don't get the bottom price. I don't care. I just want to take the meat of a move. I don't need the bottom 10% or the top 10%. I just want the majority of the move. You only get that if it goes higher. It's the reason, I'll give you a great example of this. It's the reason I didn't pull the trigger on this yesterday, and I like it this morning, because we've done this too many times. Now, if I get follow through today, I'm probably interested in that trade and giving it a shot. It still might fail, but at least I have the confidence in the follow through. You have no follow through here. Okay, this is what you had yesterday. And let's just look at it for a moment. Okay, and then I'll put the pre and post back. You opened, right, down on earnings. Then you're here. You did nothing but reverse and sell down all day. And now you're trying to hold these lows. It's not appealing to me. And I would argue that I think you need to be really careful here. So that's not the kind of move that I would want to be in. Yeah, I got it. Hopefully it's expanded now. Thank you. That's what happens when I don't finish all my coffee in the morning. DXLG. So, I don't know what they do. I find it interesting. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what they do. Let me get rid of this data and let's look at this. Let me just throw in some volume here. It's not one I'm familiar with. I'll just point out a couple things that I like, and let me just see something else with the RSI here. Yeah, I mean, I like this. You see when this RSI picks out this, and for those that haven't watched that video, you might want to, that I did on RSI, but See how you pop out here? That's a good sign. And then you see how it reacts when it pops out above that 70. It goes. It popped out here and it goes, right? And it can go for a long time. So for me, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. You're just working off this wick. You just have to realize that you're working off that wick. And you have to realize that you are in a position where, it's a shorter, smaller company. And I'm not usually crazy about those, but I like when you're into the wick because you usually tend to work that wick off. And we all know wicks are price rejection. I can't do leverage ET in my IRA, so I can't do two. I would just look, if you can't, Claire, then you can't, right? So if you have an IRA, you have access to small cap funds and small cap growth, right? So I forget what they are. Is it IWO? Yeah. So like here, like look, okay. So if you want to play this, you could probably buy this. Okay, this is the growth portion of the IWM. So you could probably buy this, Claire, which is IWO. You should be able to buy that. And that gets you more the growth of what's going on in the IWM, right? Because the IWM is the whole Russell. And there's a value one too. I forget what it is off the top of my head. But so you could just buy IWM and the same way. But all you're looking for is get above 234.36 and then give it a try. You basically have to stay in it for a day or two and see if it builds and goes or not. Or is this a 1 to 3 day rotation and then we rotate back into something else? You have to figure that part of it out. And we just don't have the answer to that yet. But I would, if I was going to buy this in my IRA, I don't know that I'd buy IWM. I'd buy the growth portion of it and leave it alone, right? The growth will outperform the IWM. It's just if you have that kind of patience. So, but either one works, and it's just simply looking for a higher high. That's it. Yeah, I'll put it in the room today. There's definitely going to be a leap trade at some point today. There's no question about it. I'm probably going to go out a year or two. But it'll definitely be out there, Boca. Crocs I like. Again, I don't want to get into people's personal choices. I don't get it, but apparently they are all the rage. But we did exactly what we wanted to do. We had this in the top 10. It broke out. And for those that follow along with this and also the top 10, and if you don't, I would subscribe to this channel and get the notifications. But with that said, the reason I want to just get this point out. Even in the trading room or in DMs, I get these questions. What about now? And then they're looking like, look, when they trigger, they trigger. If they're in the top 10 and they hit a point, they trigger. If you have underlying processes, then you need to put those processes in place. You might want to wait for 15 minutes, an half hour, whatever your process is, it is. But when they trigger, boom, you should be on them. And what I would advise people to do is take the top 10 list and set alerts on every entry point that I give so that when it goes off, it goes off and you're not going through it. Set alerts on them. It will increase your performance. I argue to anybody that tells me it won't. But please do that. ARAQ. ARAQ looks great. It looks absolutely great. Look how you're above all this. So I don't know what's in here. I don't know what's in the top 10, but this is definitely something that you could look at and buy and just sit with and just leave alone. It looks really good, and it probably continues to go higher, right? You probably head back to this level. I love when stocks do this. They just base for periods of time because when they rip, they really can rip. I love it. The longer the base, the bigger the breakout. And that's what I've been saying about Tesla. It's been basing all year. Morning, Justin. Did I miss that plug? So plug, let me just caveat here, as everybody knows or may not know, I have a position in this. I like the action. It looks like fuel cells getting more action because they did something with ExxonMobil. That's fine. Look, this entire trade of this whole sector comes down to one thing, okay? Does this bill get passed or not get passed? A lot of it's going to depend from what and I'm not a political operative. It's not what I do. I think operative is the wrong term there. But what I'm getting at is you're going to have to look at what happens today. with this governor race, because frankly, this governor race, the way that the street's looking at it is, if this Virginia governor race goes Republican, and I have no idea, nor do I care, I don't live in Virginia. If it goes Republican, then the Democrats probably do not pass this bill. It's kind of what's floating around in my people that trade off political information. If that happens, plug, fuel cell, they'll all come in. So keep that in mind. I have a position in this. I like it. I like this. Okay. I'm not looking for, and I get why this is moving, but I'm still below like the 200-day. I have a lot of resistance points, and I understand fuel cells up more, but this is pretty freaking clean, excuse my language, to 61. I think I can say frickin'. 61 is what you're looking for. So just keep that in mind. That's where we're at. That's what we're looking for. I think it could really run. So I have a position, Boke. I'm staying with it. AMD, I did. NVIDIA, I absolutely love. I think NVIDIA is doing exactly, you may remember NVIDIA Zane or you might remember the UPST trade, right? So this was the UPST trade. See how you rode that line? You're doing the same exact thing here, okay? You're doing the same exact thing here. And I think that that's what's going to continue today. So keep that in mind. As we stated, I just want to pull this up real quick. I gave a couple levels about 15 minutes ago. They're not hints. I'm just telling you that, some people trade pre-market, some people don't. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just saying this is the action that happened on it when we got through 167, right? You're already up. You got up 7-8 points from there. We'll see if it lasts or it doesn't last. Just keep that on your radar. The UPST trade now is very interesting. So if it can go again today, you should be watching that. But to get back to your point on NVIDIA, and the reason I brought that up is it's the same pattern. Recognize patterns, pattern recognition over and over again, right? And what you're seeing here is you're seeing a nice break. Okay, so I like it. I'm long. I have options. I'm not going anywhere. So, yeah, SPY, I think you're fine. I don't see any resistance on the SPY. Look, I'm going to leave this level up. It's a level that I'm looking at in the trading group. I think you're going to here. I think you're here by the end of the year. It was actually rhymed. But I think you're there by the end of the year. I really do. I truly believe that. So this is not something where I'm, looking at, oh boy, I need to get out of this, or I'm concerned today. No, this looks epic. I mean, this looks like exactly, I'm above all my supply. This RSI is pointing up. This whole market's setting up for a run, right? It's all setting up for a run, and it's something to seriously consider. NNMD, I like this name, but I just don't think you're there. I mean, look, I'm going to leave volume by price in today. I like how we're turning up, but look at all this resistance. I mean, do I really want to deal with this to get to $8? Probably not. It's not something that I'd want to deal with. It looks like a tremendous amount of aggravation. So I wouldn't want to deal with that. Samira, I'm looking at it. It's definitely on the short list for the day. I think you're going to see action in it for people to play it today into the earnings number. Look, let me just point this out. You can only get so tight, okay, before something breaks, okay? And we've been watching this line and waiting for it to break, and you're just not doing it. Now, what people need to understand about this pattern is this is not the best pattern, right? This is not usually, people are looking at these descending wedge patterns. This is not the best pattern. This is a bearish pattern. Sometimes they break out. Sometimes they do this. So you're going to have to see. But I agree. It's definitely on the list today. Hey, John. Twillo. So there's my level. And that's the level I've been watching. You can see it more clearly. Okay. I think it sold down aggressively from where it should have been. And I don't know if that continues or not. I don't know if you come up here and then roll. I would be really cautious if that's what you do. Let's get rid of this, and you can look at this a little clearer. Okay, this is your bar. That bar is what's in charge right now. Okay. So until I'm above that bar, I have no interest in that trade. If I get above this bar, right, on Twilio, okay, then maybe I have an interest. Okay. Because I do think that there could be 10% here. I do think you could fill that gap. I think they really didn't. My point of that earnings is I don't think people really got it. And I don't think they did a really good job of explaining it on the conference call. The conference call was basically a dumpster fire when it started. So BHVN. What's going on, Brian? Yeah, I mean, we've been looking at this, right? You could probably pop over this line and you're probably getting to here. I don't think you're getting much higher than that unless news hits, something comes out that drives it. Google, Doug, I like Google. I like it. You know, this is what you're dealing with though. So kind of got a bearish engulfing on the low on the flag. And now I'm forming, let's get rid of this. So you just kind of see it a little bit, right? So what are we forming? Right? Forming a little bit of a megaphone pattern, and I just broke down. We just had the breakdown of Amazon yesterday. Are we seeing rotation out of mega caps in the small caps? Maybe. I'd be a little careful. We might be seeing that. It also could hurt, you know, again, I'm going to bring up Tesla a lot today. It could also hurt Tesla if we see that. It could also hurt NVIDIA in the short term if we continue to see that. Because you are seeing more money. Like, look, I mean, we've all been watching this one. We did well with it, right? Now, we don't know if it's going to go again or not go again, but you're starting to see action in those names. So I'd be careful there. ORGN. Origin Material. I don't know what they do or what their space is. It's definitely not something I would be chasing. Look, you got this little gap here. If you really want to play this, I could throw in the indicators and give you a level. I mean, you need to get above that wick and then play it and give it a shot. I do like that the RSI is above 50. Usually that does give you a little momentum, and you could see things continue to move up based upon that. XLI. So the industrial space looks awful to me. You know, I don't see it. I just don't see it. This is all you're doing is just flatlining. It's not appealing to me at all. This RSI is coming down, but that kind of fits the pattern, doesn't it? But it's not appealing to me. I know people are looking at these names. They're looking at Boeing. I see it all over the place. You know, you're fighting for point of control right now. These are not bullish charts. These are stocks that are hitting lows. And why are you hitting lows? Because people are selling it. So just keep that in mind. Mara. Looks like it's finally going to participate, doesn't it? So definitely something to watch. Without a doubt. That's definitely something to watch. I would have that on my radar. I would not be looking at that. Let me put it that way. Okay. It's definitely something I would keep on my radar. So we can see how that does, but it's definitely out there. Shop I like, Doug. I have it on the top 5. You know, again, this is a great example. I didn't buy this breakout because it's done this so many times in the past here before and then bonked. And I just don't want to do it. I want this higher high. If I get this higher high, I would be very interested. My concern with this over the top of it is that we're seeing a rotation out of these mega caps. Shopify could be considered that, and you could see this reverse, right? Because we're seeing the small caps go. So I'm not convinced that this works, but I'll put the trade on and give the trade a shot when it breaks above that, because it could go on earnings. You've seen some of these mega caps go on earnings, right? Like Netflix. You've seen them move a couple of days after earnings. That's pretty much what you're seeing happen here. And this is just beginning. So I do like it, and I think it can work. Let's go here. Yeah, I like TNA. No, I like it. You have to get over the higher high, and then you're going to have to give it a day or two in the position to see if it really works. So you're going to have some risk there. but I do like it. Yesterday's move was no joke, but you need to see follow through. We've seen that move too many times, right? We've just seen it too many times. So COP. As far as energy, it's pretty clear that it's not going away, right? That this issue is not going away. I'm not crazy about this 5-8 cross on the short term to the downside, but you're holding the 21 day. See if it holds. Earnings were today. So, I mean, it could hold. I don't see it going anywhere long term. I mean, I just don't. Probably going higher. No one sees, when you talk to people that track energy, nobody sees it. Nobody sees an issue there. Nobody sees an issue with it coming back in price wise. No one, and that's pretty telling. So, TOST, IRBT. Look, I get it. It's new. Everybody wants to be a part of it. You got to watch these levels, and you want to have to watch how these things break. I would avoid this. This is not something I would go near. Let it confirm a little bit. Let it get above a couple levels, like get above this wick, 58.5. Let it do something first before I get involved. IRBT. Let's just keep going here. Shrink this down. Yeah. I mean, you're finally above this 50-day cleanly, right? And maybe you'll get to this level. Maybe you'll get to that level. I mean, it's not something I'm really that interested in. Did well after earnings. Maybe it goes. There's too much resistance in that for me. Yeah, I think that there's more that meets the eye with these. I think people don't understand it, right? I understand what you're saying about the gap fill. Would that be bad? I don't view it as bad. I think that the market looks very healthy. You're talking about valuations. People evaluate companies completely different nowadays than they have in the past. When it reverts back, if it becomes an asset bubble, the whole market's going to collapse. It's not going to just be Tesla. So you might as well make what you can make while it's there. If I didn't buy stocks based upon fundamentals, I would never have done. Let me rephrase that. If I didn't buy stocks based upon fundamentals, if I looked at PEs, I never would have been buying stocks when I first started, which was like 20 years ago, because, well, it was longer than that, right? It was in the 90s. Because you're looking at something that just doesn't matter. What matters is perception, right? That's all that matters. Right, not the PE. I know the value guys. I get it. I understand it, but you're not unless you have billions and billions of dollars, right? And you're looking at discounted cash flow models. What's the point? So, I kind of like this trade. I'm not going to say that I don't. I kind of think that it could hang in here. Root. I think that could work. It looks to me like it really wants to try today. Usually when it does this, it breaks. It doesn't do what we think it's going to do. So we're going to have to see how that plays out, but we'll see. DOCN. You're just riding that upward trend line. You're not really going anywhere. I'd avoid that. That's something I chase. A firm I've been watching, it had a decision to make. It made a decision yesterday, didn't it? Right? Here's your rising wedge line. I wanted to see what it was going to do. What did it do? It broke it. So it's not something I'm going to chase. That's for sure. So yeah, it does. And, the thing is with GME too is, here's the thing about GME. And I was watching these levels. Okay. Look here, Brian, and I can get rid of this to blow this up a little bit. Let's get rid of the volume by price. We'll get rid of the 5. We'll get rid of RSI, and we can blow this up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple things here, okay? You got right to this line. You got right to the 200-day, and it held. That tells you that you have some sponsorship. People are buying this. And then you got above the 50-day after you touched that. So, yeah, I agree. I think GME does look better. Yes. above 304. MU, MU trades based upon DRAM prices, right? So the time to buy MU is like how you buy Taiwan Semi, how you buy some of these names. You need to buy them when they're just not doing well, but when they're basing, and you're just not there yet. You're seeing, look, if you just click off of this, it's a really simple trade, okay? Every single time it's above the 50-day, you sell it. It just can't, for whatever reason, it can't stay above there. And until this curves and starts going higher, I would not be on the other side of that. You want this curve to change, right? Right now, just follow this line. And every time it gets to the top of this, just sell it. TTM, thinking about starting a position. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. There's a flag there. Could it work? Absolutely. Let me just put these back in. Yeah, I mean, this could totally work. I don't know much about the company, but I mean, somebody wants in, right? Was that earnings? No, it's coming into earnings. Earnings are already out. Yeah, I mean, somebody wants in. Somebody's buying, right? So this definitely could continue. I mean, look at how this is traded since the beginning. $7, and now you're at 30. I mean, it's done exceptionally well. So, and it's really outperformed this year. So it's definitely something to watch. Look, I mean, that's a big move. I like that. Let's go here first. PayPal. You know, there's just, I don't know if people are selling it because of MasterCard or what's going on. It's clearly broken. You're coming into earnings. I wouldn't play it before earnings. It clearly rejected here. You know, they should have, I mean, for the amount of money that they lost in market share, they should have just bought pins to bit the bullet at that point. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? If they did buy pins and then the stock dropped like this, at least you have a company, because you probably lost as much in market cap as pins was. So, I mean, I'd have to calculate it, but it's silly. The only redeeming quality is this. The only real redeeming quality is that these bars are getting smaller and smaller, right? So when you see these long bars, they kind of tell you that you're setting up for a wild ride, and then long bar, and then they get smaller. You know, you could be setting up to reverse here, or you could be seeing short covering going into earnings. People are like, I don't want to take the risk. We made money. So you're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. I definitely wouldn't buy it here until I see, like, at least give me one green day. I thought I had it. I actually bought it here on Friday. I actually thought I had my green day. I thought I was going to get the first green day and then maybe trade back to here. That is not what happened, right? It rolled on me and I took a loss. So just be careful with it. No, he's not very charismatic, and he didn't really explain the costs and everything. It's been an issue for years with him. AMD I covered. Hopefully you saw it. I know I'm behind. INMD I like a lot. INMD. So I like this a lot. Look, this was the trade that I went through on. It was in the top 10. Like, this is where you're at. Boom, and it breaks. Okay. You know, again, as I said earlier in this video, if you watch the top 10 on Saturday, I would certainly be in a position. I would certainly be in a position where I'd be setting those alert levels so that when they trigger, boom, you can make a decision, yes or no, right? That's what I'd be looking for. I like this. I think this can go higher. I think this can grind higher, to say the least. So it's definitely something that's on my radar. Love, let's do love. So yeah, you're setting up here. Get above that level right here. And maybe you're above that this morning, I don't know. No, but just get above that level if you want to play it. You're right there, 80 and a half. So you see 81, it might go. That might be what you need. Okay, so that's definitely one that you should be looking at today as a possible trade. APRN, look, you know, we're in this at 890. I'm at 980 this morning. I gave a level yesterday. It was in the top 10 again, 9.25, and we went up 7% or probably 5% with slippage. Look, we're in at 890 there. I gave a second spot for it. You really can't chase it here. You have to be really careful with this because it has a pattern of breaking out and then retesting and gap filling. So, or I'm sorry, just filling in back, like backfilling would be a better term. And I have earnings coming up. So you just got to be careful. But I do like the name. Let's just keep going. VMA. So VMA, and you're here. And look, what's interesting about V is that you're just trying to base. Okay. And as you're trying to base, I think that would go really well. So look, I mean, this is what you got going on too. I don't know. I would avoid them, and I would avoid them. Something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. I didn't listen to the Kurz calls. Something's wrong, but they get a percentage of every single transaction. Unless people are getting away from that, right? For some reason, right? So let's take a look. Yeah, you could be rotating out of large caps, Laura. So I'd be careful there. It's not something I'd hold on to. Hut, you're seeing these names move, and I think it's really important to understand that you're seeing these move and you're seeing these break out. Now, I don't know if they're telling you that this is going to break out, right? And that's what's happening. I'm not sure what they're telegraphing, but this, to me, this looks like the play. I mean, this looks like it's going to explode, frankly. Ethereum. In regards to that whole space, you have to figure out which ones you want to own. This looks pretty good, right? This broke out, okay, and had follow through. So there's not really much to say or to do, right? I mean, there's not really much that you could say here. You broke out, you closed at an all-time high, and then you went up. You just kind of leave it alone. See how it does. But overall, it's done very well. And let's just keep going down. Yeah, I agree that there's systemic risk to the whole market right now, but you just don't know when it ends. You just don't know when that ends. SBEA. Yeah, I mean, isn't it something now they're going to have? They're going to be a coffee company. Somehow the coffee company is linked to Trump. So maybe, and then everyone's going to buy it. Look, I'm not telling you not to buy it. I'm not telling you not to play it. Understand what you own and play the speculative nature. Am I buying this up $4 or $5? Sure as heck not touching it right now. So, I'm not doing that pre-market. Maybe it works. It looks to me like you could be peaking here on volume. But who knows? Maybe that's the beginning of the volume and the volume increases. But I'm not going to chase that. It's something to keep your eye on for sure. So MLM. So, yeah, I mean, it's not something that I'm really looking at. I mean, I don't really get it. What we'd be looking at. It's not appealing. That's not overly appealing to me. Let's keep going. Hey, Mark. Docs. So it could turn here, right? You could turn here and get back up to this 50-day. There could be a trade there, Mark. I like that. Good morning, FSR. Yeah, 1776. I mean, look, this whole space is trying to move, right? Everyone's trying to find the next Tesla. I mean, you're going to know my response to this. Buy leaders, buy Tesla. I'm not saying that this doesn't work, but I think people are grossly underestimating what it's going to take on some of these companies to get them up to speed. XPEV. So 48.06. I mean, there's your level. I posted a tweet that you might want to look at. It listed all these companies and who crushed it, who didn't crush it. People were making excuses for NLI why they didn't crush it. Doesn't matter. They didn't crush it. XPEV on the sales side, if the numbers are real, crushed it. So did LI. So they both look good. So let's just keep going. I'm going to wrap this up shortly. SI went nuts. Please subscribe to this channel. Please like this. I'm trying to get in front of as many people as possible so they can start educating themselves. And I want this to become much larger. SI went nuts and made a new high at the high yesterday, looking at earnings after earnings. Take a shot or wait for a pullback? You know, it's a great question, Justin. I saw that. I mean, this is your wedge. This is your break. Look, you get above this level, okay, you need to pay attention to it. It's that simple. If you get above that level, right, you need to pay attention to that, okay? Could this continue? Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why these stocks or why certain stocks are going higher. Certain stocks are definitely moving higher, right? And now we have to figure out why. We have to figure out why they're moving higher. And we're going to have to figure that out. We just don't know yet. So we're just not sure. But I like that. And I think if you broke that out, yeah, that could definitely be on the list as one to watch. Let's just see. MXL. I thought I did that. Maybe I didn't. And then we're going to wrap this up at the last two. I can't chase this, but I mean, it looks great if you're in this. It looks great if you're in it. It just keeps on moving. Nothing really more to say or do. So, BIDU. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, you're breaking a higher high. You're above the 50. Maybe you can get to the 200. Maybe there's a trade there. It could work. MQ. So, it's getting action. You had a nice move yesterday. Still watching that 35 level. That's where we rejected. We rejected here at 35 and rejected here at 35. So you kind of have to watch that. GOEV. Not really. I mean, that 8.25 level, and maybe you trade up, maybe you don't. Fang and Baba, and they'll be the last two, and then we're going to wrap it up. No, I mean, you ran right to this level and you rejected. You keep rejecting this level. You have to work that off, and that's what you're waiting for. You have to work that upper channel off. Baba, as people know, I mean, I'm short, and I just don't like it. It needs to hold the 50-day. If you break the 50-day here, you're going to have an issue. All right, that's it. I got to hop in the trading room. Time to go get paid. Anybody need anything, please reach out. You can just email me right here. There's certain people that don't want to talk about certain things on here, and that's fine.